Hello and welcome to the program. I'm your host, Ron Whitlock, and today we have with us in the studio Texas' #1 salesperson to bring in businesses and therefore jobs for you and I and your friends and neighbors, Nick Serafi. Nick, welcome to the program. Nick is chairman of TexasOne, which is an appointment of Texas Governor Rick Perry. And as you know, since boards and commissions really run and govern the state of Texas, and therefore the appointments of Texas Governor Rick Perry very, very important, such as the appointment of Nick Serafi. Nick, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Ron.
Thank you for coming and being with us today. Just come back from Spain and Europe, being over there talking to people about investing their dollars in the Lone Star State of Texas. We're going to tell you a little bit about what he learned over in Europe, in the country of Spain, because Spain seems to be involved in buying a lot of Texas businesses, as you and I know. So, Nick, what does TexasOne do?
TexasOne's primary mission is to sell Texas in the attempt to bring jobs to Texas. That's what TexasOne
New businesses does. Coming in, or coming in and buying existing businesses?
Primarily new businesses coming in. If a company is buying an existing business, we're hopeful that there's job creation in addition to the existing workforce that they're dealing with.
But if they do want to come in because the dollar's cheap, they can come in and bring those euro dollars, convert them to U.S. dollars, and buy a lot of business in Texas, and that's an existing job in some cases.
Yes,
Anything
sir.
bad with that? Many people are concerned about Budweiser selling out to a European entity. Is there anything wrong with that equation?
Not in my opinion. We've got a global economy now, and I feel we're going to see more and more of that. You've got U.S. companies taking positions overseas also. So in some aspects, the globe is becoming flat as far as business is concerned.
Texas is America's top state for business. Now, that's according to results of a CNBC study looking at 40 different measurement parameters. Now, comparing that to all other states in the entire United States, Nick, Governor Perry's excited. He says, quote, "We live in a world that moves faster than at any time in history." Governor Perry says knowledge and capital are rapidly being deployed to parts of the world where the right combination of talent, technology, business climate, infrastructure, and markets converge. I, Governor Perry, believe that Texas is that place now more than ever. That puts you in the catbird seat, being the Texas #1 salesperson, going all over the world and bringing in new businesses?
Well, it helps. We try to, if you're on top, people try to knock. It's easier. People are always gunning to knock you down. But Texas is now home to more Fortune 500 headquarters than any other state in the country. Most people, if you'd ask them, would think it'd be New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, California. But Texas now is the Fortune 500 leader for headquarters. Over the past 5 years, I believe over half of the jobs created in the United States were created in Texas. So we're doing well, but we need to keep going.
Now, the border region, which is where you call home, seems to be in play in a big, big way, because Santana Textiles, which is something that TexasOne was involved in initially going out and soliciting from the country of Brazil, has chosen and elected to bring a new plant costing $170 million in capital investment to the Rio Grande Valley, to the community of Edinburgh, employing 800 new jobs.
I was delighted to be present at that announcement. We have worked hard through TexasOne to try to get jobs throughout the state, but it's especially rewarding as a resident of the valley to see a company of that magnitude come to the valley.
Now, TexasOne, your entity for the entire Lone Star State of Texas, is involved because you use seed money and volunteer time, such as your own,
Yes.
to go out and solicit businesses like the one from Brazil, to bring facilities to the Lone Star State to provide infrastructure investment and jobs in particular. TexasOne is the initial firm that gets involved. The Enterprise Fund, which is a separate fund the governor has, that he was provided by the local legislative delegation out of the Lone Star State's Valley region, to give him $300 million to spend per biennium. But that's at the end. That's for closing. You use money from TexasOne for the purpose of putting together the original meeting, a social function, your travel.
Yeah, we like to call TexasOne the deal opening fund, whereas
Okay.
The Enterprise Fund is more of a deal closing fund. TexasOne is privately funded. We have memberships of a multitude of categories, but there are companies, there are local economic development councils that are members. Some of the companies are Fortune 500s. I've got a smaller company that's a member, and it's people that feel like they're giving back to Texas to help the mission of creating jobs.
Is it a 501c3,
Yes,
so they
sir.
do get a tax deduction by
Yes,
doing
sir.
that?
Yes, sir, they do.
So what is the total amount of your budget that you're using annually to try and go out and be the deal opening entity that causes these firms to begin first looking at Texas?
We raise about $1 million a year.
And so how much money of TexasOne, or can you recall, was put into the Santana Textiles Initiative, which has resulted in them bringing $170 million in capital investment and creating 800 jobs to Texas?
We basically paid for a trade mission to Brazil and Argentina, so I would guess $10,000-$15,000 because of the travel and so on.
Airline tickets, hotels,
Yeah,
meals, that's
yes.
it.
Yes, sir.
Not a big deal then.
No. We do. TexasOne will probably do 10 trade missions in this calendar year. And then we'll do several promotional events to where we'll bring potential businesses that are looking at locating in Texas into the state also.
Now, Texas Governor Rick Perry has been criticized over the last few years from not having spent much Texas enterprise money along the Texas border. However, he was in the position to grant $1.65 million out of the Texas Enterprise Fund to close, as you just talked about, the Santana Textiles manufacturing plant to come to the city of Edinburgh with an 800 job potential down the road as it's developed phase 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're going to let you see on the last segment of our program here today some of what happened at the press announcement when the people came from Brazil, made the announcement. Texas Governor Perry was there. The local legislative delegation for the Rio Grande Valley, its senators and state reps were there to brag on Governor Perry and Santana for closing the deal. When will the groundbreaking start?
That I'm not sure. This project was. Let me go into a little bit about the deal closing. Edinburgh was heavily involved, and this is the way economic development works in Texas. They're generally local. They're local dollars involved. That's why we say the Texas Enterprise Fund is the deal.
Always a team effort. Always win-wins.
Yes. And that's why on these trade missions, there are local communities that come with us also that want to show their goods.
Right.
So we're not just selling Texas; we're giving an opportunity for other communities to come. I'm not. I think they're projected to be completed in 2010. I'm not sure.
How often do you talk to Governor Perry about what you're doing, Nick? And how good is the relationship between you and he? And what goals do you and he share as it relates to what TexasOne is doing right now?
I speak to the governor probably once a month about what we're doing. We get together, and he attends some of our meetings, and so my primary liaison is with some of his staff, and that's on a much more frequent basis.
What kind of a guy is he to work with?
Oh, he's a great guy to work with. He's just like you and me. He's a regular guy.
Even though he came out of agriculture, out of the Texas Panhandle.
Probably makes him more of a regular guy because of his ag background. But and he's an Aggie and I'm a Longhorn, but we still get along well.
Symbiosis would be, and you brought it up, as an ag background, you're used to having an awful lot of faith, putting a seed in the ground and praying to God that it's going to rain, and then praying to God when it grows that insects don't get it, and then praying to the Lord there's going to be a market, and then praying to the Lord that market holds until you sell it and get the money in the bank and repay the bank for the loan they gave you to plant that seed in the first place.
Right. And generally, when we talk about jobs, and that's basically what our TexasOne's mission is, and it's one of Governor Perry's priorities, creating jobs in Texas.
Most recent trip to Spain. Tell us about that, Nick.
Well, we spent 3 days in Madrid and a day in Sevilla. Met with several construction companies that are interested in doing some. When I say construction companies, some of these Spanish construction companies are world leaders in toll roads, is one thing, which has had a lot of media exposure in the past year. But in addition, they're some of the world leaders in desal facilities, ocean water to desalination of ocean water, high-speed rail, alternative energy such as solar energy. We visited the largest solar plant in the world. This company is also building another facility, which will then be the largest solar facility.
Can you describe that to us? You went there in person and saw it.
Yeah, it's a bunch of mirrors. Lots of mirrors.
Spread out over many acres.
Yes, and the lights being all directed. This is all computer controlled. The lights all being directed at one point.
Wow.
And it's heating.
So the panels are all computer
yeah, they
controlled,
had. We went to the control room, and there
time?
were 5 guys sitting at terminals there, watching the weather, watching cloud movement, adjusting there's a lot of computer programs involved with this, but there was some adjustment as to maximizing the energy going to this one point that is heating water, creating steam to drive turbines. And this was basically a big laboratory, but it was a 10 megawatt facility. They've got a 20 megawatt facility under construction, but this one that they're doing in Arizona is going to be 300 megawatts.
And this company in Spain is developing currently in Arizona.
Right.
And so you're trying to encourage them to come to the Lone Star State of Texas, and they said?
They're looking at it. They're interested in doing projects all over the world, and if we can put the right people together, we may. They're ready. They've the hope is that once they get these into mass production, the construction costs will go down.
Good luck.
Thank you.
How is a job created by a solar facility such as this located in Texas?
Well, if you get
the 5 people behind the computer screen?
Well, there's actually more than that, but the operation of it, it probably requires a couple hundred jobs associated with it. The scale of the one that's being done in Arizona. Additionally, if we can get Texas is not only is it's the second largest state in the country, but it's the largest energy user in the United States, and we have to
user and producer.
Right, but we have to develop other sources.
So is that a big advantage in your portfolio and in your quiver of arrows when you go out to solicit a plant or a company anywhere in the world to come to Texas, because we do have this energy, we do produce this energy, but we also use that energy?
Well, we definitely have people in Texas that know how to talk it a lot better than I do. We've got lots of energy experts.
Now, the idea of wind production and getting energy out of the wind is something that Texas leads the nation in. In the year 2007, Texas installed nearly $3 billion worth of wind-powered electric generators, increasing the state's wind capacity by 59%, or 1,618 megawatts. And the year before that, 2006, in oil and gas exploration, 61 new oil reserves, 110 new natural gas discoveries made in the year 2006 alone. Now, how do these things work in concert with what you're trying to accomplish?
Well, most of let me go back to one of the reasons we've got to keep creating jobs in Texas is because we're the fastest growing state in the country. So we're gonna have people for those jobs. Most of the jobs, there is an energy component.
Because of our high growth rate?
Yes, and the valley is
high
one of the
birth
highest.
rate.
Yeah. We like to have babies in Texas.
Mainly Hispanic families like to have babies more than anything else.
Well, I've got 4 kids, so my wife's Hispanic, so we're right in there. But we've got since we are the number one energy user in the country, we cannot keep growing if we don't expand our energy production. And while we've done well in the oil and gas area, we're just looking at alternate sources of energy to complement that. We're also, I believe there are 2 or 3 nuclear plants that are in the permitting process right now. So we've got to have the energy and the infrastructure to support these companies that are going to be bringing jobs.
2 existing, one north on the Texas coast and one in Dallas.
Right.
Now, Ron Whitlock reports went sometime back to the Desert and Sky wind farm. Didn't go necessarily. We were going on Interstate 10, heading from San Antonio out to El Paso, Nick.
Yeah.
And we see all of these wind turbines up on the vistas and the bluffs and all of this ranch and farmland all the way along I-10, probably 40 minutes to an hour worth of traveling along I-10. All of this wind being harnessed to generate energy and keep our energy costs low, hopefully. Has it worked? Has it kept our energy prices low, or has the recent increase in bills had an adverse impact on this in some way?
I don't know if it's kept it any lower. I think the wind energy is a long-term alternative energy source, and it because the energy prices are where they are now, it makes a lot of the other alternative sources practical.
You would think having more energy in the system would keep prices down to a degree. You would think.
Yeah, I would.
On the law of supply and demand.
Right. It probably doesn't hurt. And as you can see that we're building more in Texas. If you drive up 77 through the King Ranch, you'll see the trucks with those blades coming down the road. So I think in the long term it will lower our costs.
In October 2007, the Texas General Land Office became the first U.S. entity to award competitive leases for offshore wind power plants in the Gulf of Mexico, one plant being proposed off South Padre Island, Texas. General Land Office Commissioner Jerry Patterson said the Texas wind rush is on. Now we're going to let you have an opportunity to watch Texas Governor Perry and the press conference that occurred in Edinburgh as the Economic Development Corporation of Edinburgh and the Texas Governor's Office and Governor Perry himself told you and I what was going to happen with these 800 jobs being created along the Texas border.
Today we have the privilege of introducing a great company that is coming to the city of Edinburgh.
It's an honor to be here. Ever since we started to discuss back in Brazil, a place to start a business, we always had in mind that the place should be in North America. And we found out what the governor said, that Texas is the best state to start a manufacturing plant in America.
You can count on continued support for future projects. There are more exciting projects like this one underway. Santana Textiles, as I said, will create 800 new jobs. What is that in Hidalgo counties compared to last year? Last year we created 8,000 new jobs. Just with this company alone, we're already 10% there.
This is a really important project. The first one is always the most important one, because what now people will see is they come and they investigate where they want to invest. They will come to the Rio Grande Valley. They will see the extraordinary opportunity here. They'll see the workforce. They'll see the the central location from the standpoint of the Americas are concerned. And I think the sales job will be substantially easier now that we have this great company that's moving here, that's going to be employing our citizens, and people talk. Texas has consistently led the nation in job creation over the past several years. In fact, last year, Senator, half the jobs that were created in America were created in Texas. You don't think I don't brag on that a little bit when I see arms? On behalf of the great state of Texas, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for making this investment in Texas. I believe there is no better place to live. There's no better place to work or raise a family, no better place to call home than this great state. And investments like yours make it even better. God bless you.
Now, Nick, you were there. You heard what Governor Perry said. You heard all of the praise being given to Texas Governor Perry. Your entity, TexasOne, someone involved by going to Brazil with the first trade mission to help convince this plant come to the border region. The most significant thing to me was the fact that they were contemplating and almost assuredly going to put this textile plant in Mexico. They chose not to, instead wanting to bring it to a cotton-producing region, the Rio Grande Valley, create 800 jobs at $20,000 per job annual average salary expected.
Yeah.
Why did that happen? Why did Mexico lose out on this plant, especially with the maquiladora being so lucrative, the maquiladora industry so lucrative, and then coming to the border region?
Well, Santana is a family-owned business. As you saw, the father and the son were there at the announcement. I kind of got the feeling, talking to the son, that he wants to hang out in the U.S. some. So their headquarters is in Sao Paulo, Brazil.
Nick, the Valley's history of low wages per capita was an advantage in getting the Santana Textiles plant for the region. Is that correct?
Yeah, and we talked a minute ago about one of the decisions that what had them decide on coming to Edinburgh in the long run. And in addition to the desire of the family to want to have a facility in Texas, it was the mix of the wage base, lower wage base in the Valley, but getting it high enough to where they could tap into the Texas Enterprise Fund was a good match.
And one of the other things that Texas Governor Rick Perry has done for the region is he has pushed along through his TxDOT commissioners and new chairperson DeLisi the movement toward a new study for I-69's quicker completion, connecting the two ports in Brownsville, Corpus Christi, and extending Interstate 37 from Corpus Christi to the Rio Grande Valley. If you want to find out more about the solar system that Nick visited in Spain, you can go to Bengoa Solar, ABENGOASOLAR.com, and view their PS10 facility, which is the one he's trying to solicit to locate in the state of Texas. Nick, thank you for coming and joining us here on Ron Whitlock Reports. Thank you for joining us. Till next time, adios.